comes from a long lineage of famous Lake County Republicans, but he has earned his position in his own right. He has served as the Hanover Township trustee. He was elected to the Lake County Council for the 7th District last year. And this year, he earned the right to be the Lake County Republican Chairman. I'm pleased to introduce Randy Niemeyer.
First, I had to get past wrestling the balloons. Thank you for the introduction, Dan. Just a small correction. I was 12 years on the Cedar Lake Town Council, never a township trustee, but I did serve as the Cedar Lake and Hanover Township Republican Chairman for several years. I've been a precinct committeeman for 15. Grew up in politics, as Dan said. Some of my earliest memories are along a parade route with my great uncle Ernie and my grandfather Adolph, as they threw out bags of peanuts at the crowd. I think sometimes it was at the crowd, depending if they voted for him or not. But I always marveled at the connection that they had with people. And the thing that intrigued me so much was watching the two of them walk into a room, and they knew everybody by their first name. And people smiled when they saw them. And that really drew me to public service as a 6-year-old boy, and having a chance to serve as a page for my great uncle in the state senate, and then again for Senator Lansky, really kind of solidified the path that I would eventually take, although it's taken a few interesting twists and turns to get here. So it's great to see so many Republicans here tonight in Munster. Give yourselves a hand. Growing up in Lake County, there were really only 2 communities that we could look to as Republican strongholds, and that was Munster and Crown Point. Now, Crown Point has kind of gone purple, and we look to change that again. But Munster is holding strong, so keep that up. It's so important for your community here to be strong Republican, not because we hate Democrats, but because we don't want Cook County to bleed over into Lake County. You are the guard at the gate, your community of Munster. So a great primary here in Munster this year, and there were actually Republican primaries all over Lake County. We actually had a primary for mayor in East Chicago. So we are making progress as a party. We are starting to find our way into the cities where we didn't have a stronghold before. I was encouraged in Gary that we had a city council candidate get 197 votes. And you say, why is that a big deal? Well, as the Republican chairman, if we're going to build a party, it starts with having Republican voters in primaries. Because without that, we cannot make record as Republicans. And what that allows those Republicans to do is serve on boards and commissions in the city. The city can appoint all Democrats to boards and commissions if no Republicans apply. And that's what's been happening. But now we have a list. Now we have names. Now we have people that can hold the Democrats accountable and start to change that narrative. So it's so important when we have these primaries for people to participate, because that gives our party the chance to build its foundation. And that's something that when I ran for chairman that I talked about, that this all starts precinct by precinct. We as a party in Lake County have been kind of and also ran for generations, serving on the Lake County Council with Pete Lindemoller, who is your rep here, has been an incredible pleasure so far in these few months. And we found that he and I working together, we can get a lot done, even with a Democrat majority. Because just having that conservative voice in the room sometimes is enough to change the conversation. So it's important to me in these primaries to see high participation. But the one thing that's discouraging is something that I've noticed as well in primaries, when Republicans run against one another. We like to eat our own. And unfortunately, there's the balloons again, they're attracted to me. Unfortunately, it has happened here in Lake County again. Now, the trick to being a strong party is to have competitive primaries, but then to rally our troops. The one thing I loved about being a Republican as a young kid, and yes, I identified as one as a young kid, was that I always looked at the Republican Party as a party of ideas, not necessarily always a party of ideals. But what we could do as Republicans is we could sit across the table from one another and argue and fight and cuss at each other and then get up and pat each other on the back and shake our hands. The old adage that you know, if you agree with me 80% doesn't make you my enemy, right? It makes you my ally. But we have gone so far in the directions of if we don't agree with each other 100% of the time, that we must be enemies. Well, the Lake County Republican Party looks to change that brand. We look to embrace different ideas. We want our party to grow. We want the influence of it to grow, but we want to see people who are willing to serve their cities and towns and their county elected to office or appointed to office that feel like they're a part of something special. So what we're doing as a county party, I was elected as chairman January 29th, and since then I think I've been to just about every event or had somebody at an event taking pictures, because we really wanted to showcase what we have going here. We aren't the little brother of the Democrats anymore, and I don't believe, if you look at the demographics of Lake County, I believe we are a purple county that's starting to lean red. The challenge for us is to get our voting base engaged. So as I looked at Jennifer Ruth Green's campaign last year, she did a wonderful job. She had a great message. She was a dynamic candidate, but we fell short. Why did we fall short? Not because the Democrats beat us, because Republicans beat themselves. Our turnout as a party was atrocious. Republicans didn't rally behind her, and that's a shame. For whatever reason, maybe it was a personal feeling thing, maybe it was, well, I don't think you're Republican enough. But boy, a little bit more energy from our party, and we have a Republican congresswoman right now. That's how close we are, folks. And in my leadership of the Lake County Party, we are going to look to build this foundation in a strategic fashion. You're going to see me roll out some tenets of a strategic plan very soon. We're going to create a business model that focuses on the most important activity of a political party, and that is winning elections. Thank you very much.